I always knew that I wanted to be a teacher since I was 5 years old, and throughout middle school and high school, I was afforded the opportunity to take child development courses, and then when I was a senior, I was in co-op, and I got my first teaching assistant job. When I was 12, I actually got hit by a car. It was a drunk driver, and I just remember this one incident where all the kids in my class signed a card and they got me this balloon with candy dish. And then two of my friends came and dropped it off. And I know it sounds so simple, but it was like heaven on earth. I was a teacher in various charter schools, then I came over to the DOE at a school that had such amazing culture and climate. Still to this day, 10 years later, and being a founding teacher in that work and having just a great mentor principal. And that's another thing. I've had great mentors that were really big on culture and climate that has helped me. Became assistant principal, I was a principal, and now I'm a district administrator. And I've been able to, in this role, intersect instruction and culture and climate and really have an impact in schools. So I'm very blessed that when I go into schools, I can see the correlation between instruction and culture and climate and help school leaders to bridge that gap. I think school culture has become a buzzword. Two things that come to mind: social media. I think social media highlights the haves and have-nots. So it's not that school culture is not important to leaders, but if you don't have a strong social media presence, it can come off as if you're not really big on school culture and climate. Because remember, school culture and climate, it tells a story. When you go to someone's Instagram page or their website, are you seeing welcoming and warm environments? Are you seeing the kids happy? Are you seeing students and teachers engaging in the work? Another thing that comes to my mind, what's different now compared to before COVID. After COVID, I feel like there was this big push for culture and climate and mental health and wellness, and the policies were pushing money to support culture and climate. But since then, it just doesn't seem as important. It's important, but not as important, because again, we're back to our old ways of instruction, proficiency, numbers. And I think if we look at the schools that are most successful, it's not because of their test scores, it's because they have strong culture and climates. They have families that want to be at those schools, they have teachers that are thriving, and they have leaders that have invested not only their resources and money, but their personalities, their time, their investments to making sure that their culture is intact. When you hear your school's name, are people like, yeah, I love that school, I love the leader, I would love to have my child there? Or do people say, oh, okay, you work there? It was really important for me as a teacher to work at a school that I would not only send my kids, I would send my nephew, I would send my niece, I would send my friends' kids, because my school that I worked at not only represented myself, but it represented the community, it represented the district, it represented the school system that I worked at. When you have a strong culture and climate, your attendance goes up. Teacher morale goes up. People want to come to work every day. You celebrate the small wins, right? Like, I always feel like instruction is key, but it's about having teachers that stayed late without getting paid, having school events, making sure that everyone is excited about where they work. Teacher retention rates is tied to school culture and climate. Teachers that love where they work will stay longer, right? Which means that kids are learning, they get the same faces, there's not a large turnover rate, and every day they're excited to come to work. It also helps with proficiency rates, right? When students feel emotionally well, and teachers and adults and leaders feel emotionally well, they will stay longer. We're in a climate where principals are not staying 10, 20 years like they did before. Teachers are not staying 10, 20 years as they did before. But you find the schools that have teachers that have been there 20 years, and not just people that are staying, they're thriving, they're learning, they're reflective, they are doing everything they can every day to think about the next generation of students and how they can be the best teacher for those students. So I truly believe that school culture and climate is a community effort, and you have to make sure that you know how you show up in the world and how it impacts others. I call myself an SEL strategist because I think in my personal life and in my school life, I live and breathe what it means to be a kind person, how to show up with a smile, how to make people seen. And I'm not always 100% with it, right? Like we all have our flaws, but I try to make sure when I come in contact with anyone on the street, in a school, at my home district, that people will walk away saying, I want to be like her. I want to feel like I want everyone to be seen. I want to go to a school where I feel loved. And I think that's my life mission, and God has put me on the earth to do that. And I think that I get to do it. And it's a joy. It doesn't feel like work, to be honest. I get to show up every day and do what God has purposed me in this world. And it's a joy.